There are very few horror games that I would put above Dead Space. Thanks to this game and its two sequels, the gaming world was rocked to its core with its futuristic horror design that gave games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill a real run for their money. I mean, the idea that you couldn't put enemies down with practical headshots and needing to strategically dismember them with futuristic mining tools was extremely unique. Dead Space didn't just boast body horror, it also threw psychological horror at the player as well, making you wonder what was real and what wasn't. Ever since the release of Dead Space 3 and the dissolve of the much beloved Visceral games, this series has kind of been forgotten about. I got the urge to play this classic again, and I might as well make something productive out of it. Besides, I've been craving to play another survival horror game for some time. I think that it is about time we made a visit back to the USG Ishimura, watch those events, and go cuckoo crazy. This is my review of Dead Space. To this day, I will hail Dead Space as one of the best stories to be told in survival horror history. At the time, we had Resident Evil 4 and other titles that would sport a bit of a horror essence here or there, but your character was more than capable of handling whatever came at you in these titles. For example, Leon. He was a specially trained Secret Service agent. Other characters at least had combat experience on them. The developers wanted the player to be a normal person who was experiencing the traumatic events of Dead Space firsthand. Allow me to introduce you to Isaac Clarke, an engineer who volunteered to go to the USG Ishimura after receiving a distressful video message from his girlfriend, Nicole Brannon. He is not combat trained. He does not have super weapons. He has his engineering suit that protects him from light debris and the vacuum of space. And that is pretty much it. The next kicker was that you weren't fighting your normal run-of-the-mill zombies. These were necromorphs. These things' sole purpose is to kill Isaac and any living being by any means. What made them unique was how they acted and how you needed to take them down. They almost always attack in groups, so expect a lot of ambushes. Body shots and headshots would just piss these things off. You may stagger them, but you will do little to no damage. Not to mention, they have a real nasty habit to pop out of vents. The one way to keep them from coming back and hurting you was by literally dismembering them. So the first thing you do in the game after running away from them is grab a mining tool called a plasma cutter, learn how to use it, and then start cutting away at the legs and arms of your attackers. To make things worse, these things will sometimes play dead just to ambush you and get another hit in on you. And in this game, every hit counts. Now, at this point, you would think, okay, we know what we are facing, right? Wrong. If having 1,000 grotesque transformed crew trying to kill you wasn't enough, you must work to keep the ship from falling apart so that way you and your other two survivors do not die while trying to survive and figure out what started this outbreak in the first place. On top of that, you will see Isaac suffer from hallucinations and witnessing things that are truly horrifying, and that may or may not be there. Now, you can get more of the backstory of the events and how everything went to utter crap by collecting audio, video, and text logs that are laid out throughout the ship. Some are easy to find, others are really tucked away. You also get a whole slew of logs that explain what happened to the USG Ishimura after beating the game. All of these factors make the game extremely unique and fun to get into. The discoveries you make can and will shock you. The characters feel human and relatable. Really, there aren't many negative things that you can really say about the narrative. The one thing that I can say that can be a negative is that the story is not for the faint of heart. It will tug at your heartstrings and give shock where it is due. When you think things cannot get more messed up, they will. No punches are pulled on the horror factor in this game. Your will to continue will be tested if you are not used to these kinds of games. I know that my first time playing it as a teenager, I was genuinely shocked and needed to take a break here or there. And that is coming from a guy who played the Doom series and Half-Life series for a literal laugh sometimes as a kid. The original concept of Dead Space was reportedly supposed to be a sequel of the very successful System Shock 2. But the influence of Resident Evil 4 definitely made its way into the game and created something different. But what would make it more unique when it comes to its UI and gameplay was keeping the player engaged at all times. Your health can be seen on screen at all times on Isaac's back via his rig, as well as on other NPCs' rigs. You needed to keep track of your ammo count via a counter on your weapons whenever you aimed. And even when you pull up your inventory, the game is not paused. In major story moments and exposition, you're not even taken out of the action either. No cutscenes are really seen in this game. Everything happens in real time. When it comes to combat, as I said before, the only way to kill most of the creatures is to literally cut them apart from their legs to their arms. Body shots will not do the trick with these things. On easy, you may get some kills, but body shots and headshots will make you just waste much needed ammo. This would be a staple in the series. The kind of weapons that you will get access to range all the way from futuristic mining tools to an assault rifle. Each gun has an alternate fire and are all useful in their own ways. You can upgrade your guns as well as your suit in order to get more damage out of each shot and have more HP or oxygen in your suit. You do this by collecting power nodes and spending them at a workbench. But there are less power nodes than there are upgrades, so choose wisely. You will also get access to a kinesis module that will allow you to move heavy things or pick things up from a distance, along with a stasis module which allows you to slow down any object or enemy you target at down to a crawl. These are mainly used for puzzle-solving purposes, but can be used for combat as well. Different variants of necromorphs will test your wit and skill in every encounter. Some will leap around and pounce on you, others will try and kamikaze you with explosive sacks. Then there are others that are huge and will try to take you out with pure brutality. As you progress, you will run into tougher variants that will take considerably more damage than usual and dish out more pain than usual. So, pro tip, if you do get this game, keep upgrading and spend your currency wisely. What made the gameplay more unique was how accessible it was when it came to the combat mechanics. You could move and shoot, and melee attacks could be executed with a simple push of a button, even though it didn't do much damage. Healing and restoration of certain meters were also hotkeyed to certain buttons on a controller or on the keyboard, whichever version you're playing, whether it's 360 or PC. This would be handy if you were in the middle of a fight and didn't have time to be choosy with your healing items. Progression is very organic as well. As you kill necromorphs and scavenge for supplies, you will pick up credits, ammo, and schematics along the way. Credits are used to purchase weapons, suits, and items. Pretty self-explanatory, I'm sure. Ammo is pretty much what ammo is. And schematics are used to make new items available in the store, like new suits and weapons. You will get all of these things at a steady pace, so you never feel like you are just being tossed everything all at once. But you also feel like as if you are earning everything that you get. Another cool thing that I have got to mention is how your suit changes as you upgrade. You look more and more like a knight as you upgrade, and you never look completely protected. To me, this is a good thing. It still leaves some tension, but also makes you feel a little more awesome with each upgrade. Not to mention each suit gives you more damage resistance and inventory space. What can be seen as a negative is very far and in between. You will occasionally spot a weird animation here or there, but nothing game-breaking. And you may get a glitch here or there, but again, nothing crazy. Some people may find Isaac not saying a thing throughout the game feel a little disconnected. But the point is to immerse yourself as the character, not the other way around. New Game Plus was also a thing in this game. Yes, that is nothing new with most games during that era, but it was still a positive nonetheless and added replayability. You also unlocked new challenges and suits as you completed the game over and over again. There are also other Easter eggs and hidden secrets that are fun to search for, especially in New Game Plus when you don't really have too much to worry about. The visuals of the game still holds up to this day. It definitely still looks like a video game. It's not as photorealistic as other games out there, but still, it does immerse you nonetheless. If the visual aesthetic of the game doesn't impress you, the sound definitely will. I have not jumped as many times at mere sounds as I have playing this game. Every sound in the game was geared in order to shock you, or, at the very least, make you pay attention to it. The roaring of the necromorphs, all the way down to basic mechanical sounds of the ship, will demand your attention. But it won't be up to the point that it is extremely annoying. There are times in the game that everything is relatively quiet. Then it gets loud all of a sudden because of what you see right in front of you, and it's for a darn good reason. And usually, it is a bad thing why things are getting loud. When things are quiet, you know that you are safe. For now. The voice acting in the game is also extremely talented as well. It's obvious that much of the cast had fun doing these roles. I couldn't help but get immersed into every line, sound, and ambient track that was played. It fitted the environment and the struggle that you, as a player, was going through. I can't help but praise it. Look, I know that I have been praising the game to high heaven, but there is a good reason for that. It's a pity that the franchise went into obscurity after the third entry into the series. But it is apparent as to why the series had such a good run with Dead Space 1 and 2. Both titles innovated in ways that other horror titles had before, but Visceral Games took it to a whole new level and made it their own. In the 360 era, this was a must-own, and it is quite apparent as to why. It may not have total originality on its side, but it was different enough to make it unique and to spark intrigue as to what was going on and why in the game's lore. The game constantly rewards you and provides you more reasons to keep on playing. It's no wonder I always return to it every year at least once. Now, with me playing through all the games once more, I am going to be doing a review for each one along with their expansions. I hope you guys will tune in and give them a watch. Thank you very much for watching if you have gotten this far. If you want to see more content like this in the future and hear me nerd out more, please hit the subscribe button and select that bell icon. If you liked what you heard in this video, please leave a like. It helps the channel. Anyways, thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.